Jake Martinez wiped his sweaty hands on his uniform pants. He stood in the main docking bay of the space station Meridian, watching as the alien ship slowly moved closer. The ship was beautiful. It looked like a giant crystal that changed colors as it moved through space. "Remember, Jake," said Captain Lisa Rodriguez, standing next to him, "this is the most important day in human history. Don't mess it up." Jake nodded. He was the best language expert on the ship, but he felt nervous. The Volari were the first aliens humans had ever met. Everything had to be perfect. The alien ship connected to their station with a soft click. Jake held his breath. The door opened, with a quiet hiss. The first Volari stepped through the door. Jake's eyes went wide. They looked almost human, but different. Their skin seemed to glow with a soft light. It changed colors slowly, like looking at oil on water. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, and sparkled like stars. 3 Volari walked into the docking bay. The one in front was tall and wore what looked like a military uniform. His skin was a steady blue color. Behind him walked 2 others. One was older, with silver markings on his face. The other was younger and smaller. Jake couldn't stop looking at the young one. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Her skin was a soft purple color that reminded him of flowers. Her large eyes looked around the room with wonder. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Welcome to Meridian Station. I am Captain Lisa Rodriguez of Earth." The tall Volari spoke in perfect English. "I am Commander Thex. This is Elder Voss and Cultural Attaché Zira. We come in peace." Jake watched as Zira looked at everything with curiosity. She seemed interested in the humans, not scared like he thought she might be. "Dr. Jake Martinez will work with your cultural attaché," Captain Rodriguez said, pointing at Jake. "He speaks many languages and will help us understand each other." Commander Thex nodded. "Attaché Zira will work with your language expert." Jake stepped forward. His heart beat fast. He had studied Volari language for months, but he had never spoken to a real Volari before. He wanted to make a good first impression. He remembered the formal greeting he had learned. In Volari culture, it was important to be polite. Jake opened his mouth and spoke in the Volari language. But something went wrong. Instead of saying, "I greet you with respect," Jake said something else. The words came out wrong. He said, "You are very beautiful." Jake realized his mistake right away. His face turned red. But before he could fix it, something amazing happened. Zira's skin changed color. The soft purple became a warm golden color, like sunshine. Her large eyes opened even wider. She looked surprised but not angry. "What did you say?" she asked in English. Her voice was soft and musical. Jake's face got even redder. "I'm sorry. I meant to say the formal greeting. I made a mistake with your language." But Zira stepped closer to him. Her skin was still that beautiful golden color. "No, tell me what you said, please." Jake looked around. Commander Thex was watching with narrow eyes. Captain Rodriguez looked worried. The other humans were staring. I said you are very beautiful," Jake whispered. Zira's golden glow got brighter. She looked down at the floor, then back at Jake. "Say it again, human." Jake was confused. He thought she would be angry. In his training, they told him that alien cultures might not like compliments from strangers. But Zira seemed happy. "You are very beautiful," Jake said again, this time in English. Zira smiled. It was the first time Jake had seen a Volari smile. It made her whole face light up. "Thank you, Jake Martinez of Earth." Commander Thex made a sound like clearing his throat. "Perhaps we should begin the formal meetings now." Captain Rodriguez nodded quickly. "Yes, of course, Dr. Martinez, please show our guests to conference room A." As they walked through the hallways of the station, Jake stayed next to Zira. He noticed that her skin kept changing colors. Sometimes it was purple, sometimes golden, sometimes a mix of both. "Is your skin supposed to do that?" Jake asked. Zira looked at him with surprise. "You don't know about Volari color emotions?" Jake shook his head. We didn't learn about that in our training. Our skin shows our feelings, Zira explained. Purple means curious, gold means happy and warm feelings. Jake felt his heart beat faster. So when I called you beautiful, I felt happy, Zira said simply. No one has ever said that to me before. They reached the conference room. As the others went inside, Zira touched Jake's arm gently. Her skin was pure gold now. In my culture, she said quietly, calling someone beautiful is very special. It means you see their soul, not just their body. Jake stared at her. I didn't know that. But you said it anyway, Zira said. Why? Jake thought about it. Because it was true. You are beautiful inside and outside. Zira's golden glow got so bright that it almost hurt to look at. Say it again, human. This time, Jake smiled too. You are beautiful, Zira of the Valari. As they entered the conference room together, Jake realized that his mistake might have been the best thing he ever did. Something special was starting between humans and Valari, and it began with one simple, honest compliment. The formal meetings would start now. But Jake knew that the real communication had already begun, not with official words or careful diplomacy, but with truth and kindness. He looked at Zira as she sat down across from him. Her skin was still glowing gold, and her eyes sparkled with something new. Jake had a feeling that this was just the beginning of something wonderful. 3 days had passed since the first meeting. Jake woke up each morning excited to work with Zira. They spent hours together in the language lab, trying to build better ways for humans and Valari to talk to each other. Zira was smart and funny. She asked many questions about human culture. Jake loved watching her skin change colors as she learned new things. When she was thinking hard, her skin turned a soft blue. When she was excited, it sparkled with silver dots. Tell me about human art, Zira said during their morning session. She sat across from Jake at a small table covered with books and computer screens. Jake pulled up pictures on his tablet. We paint pictures, make sculptures, and write stories. What about Valari art? Zira's skin shifted to a happy purple color. We make color songs, watch. She stood up and closed her eyes. Slowly her skin began to change. First purple, then gold, then a deep red that reminded Jake of sunset. The colors moved across her skin like waves on water. It was the most beautiful thing Jake had ever seen. That was a song about my home planet, Zira said when she finished. The purple is for the mountains, gold for the sun, and red for the flowers that grow there. That's amazing, Jake said. Humans could never do anything like that. Zira tilted her head. But humans can do things we cannot. You make music with instruments. You paint with colors that last forever. Both are beautiful. Jake smiled. Every day he learned something new about Zira and her people. But he also worried. Yesterday, Captain Rodriguez had pulled him aside for a talk. Jake, you're getting too close to the alien, she had said. Remember, this is a job. Keep it professional. Jake tried to keep his distance, but it was hard. Zira was becoming his friend. Maybe more than a friend. Jake, Zira said, bringing him back to the present. Can you explain human emotions to me? Commander Thex says they make humans weak and unpredictable. Jake frowned. Emotions don't make us weak. They help us care about each other. They help us create art and music. They help us love. Love. Zira's skin turned a soft pink color Jake had never seen before. What is love? Jake felt his face get warm. How could he explain love to someone who might not understand it? Love is when you care about someone more than yourself. When their happiness makes you happy. When you want to protect them and be with them always. Zira's pink color got deeper. Do all humans feel love? Most do. Don't Valari feel love? Zira looked down at her hands. We used to long ago, but our leaders decided emotions were dangerous. They taught us to control them, to hide them. Only children show their feelings through skin color now. But you show your feelings, Jake pointed out. Zira, quote, S skin turned a sad blue color. I am different. Commander Thek says I am too emotional for a proper Valari. That's why they sent me on this mission. They hope working with humans will teach me control. Jake felt angry. There's nothing wrong with having feelings. Your emotions make you who you are. You really think so? Zira asked. I know so, Jake said firmly. Your emotions are beautiful, just like you. Zira's skin flashed that golden color again. You keep saying I'm beautiful. Jake realized what he had done. His face turned red. I'm sorry. I know that's very personal in your culture. I shouldn't keep saying it. No, Zira said quickly. I like it when you say it. In Valari culture, only family or romantic partners say such things, but when you say it, it feels right. Jake's heart beat faster. Zira, I need to tell you something. When I called you beautiful the first day, it wasn't really a mistake. Zira's skin went completely still, staying a soft purple. What do you mean? I meant to say the formal greeting, but part of me wanted to say you were beautiful. Maybe my heart made my mouth say what it really felt. Zira stood up and walked to the window. Outside, stars sparkled in the black of space. Her skin slowly changed to a mix of gold and pink. Jake, she said without turning around. I must tell you something, too. In Valari culture, when someone calls you beautiful, you're supposed to say thank you and walk away. But I asked you to say it again. Why? Jake asked. Zira turned to face him. Her skin was glowing brighter than he had ever seen it. Because it made me feel something I had never felt before. Something warm and wonderful and scary all at the same time. Jake stood up and walked over to her. I feel the same way. They stood close together looking out at the stars. Jake could feel the warmth coming from Zira's glowing skin. This is dangerous, Zira whispered. If Commander Thex finds out about my feelings, he will send me away. And if Captain Rodriguez finds out about mine, she'll probably do the same, Jake said. Then we must be careful, Zira said. But Jake? Yes? I don't want to stop feeling this way, even if it's dangerous. Jake smiled. Neither do I. Suddenly, the door to the lab opened. Commander Thex walked in with Captain Rodriguez. Both looked serious. How is the language work going? Commander Thex asked. His skin was a cold blue color. Very well, sir, Zira said quickly. Her skin had changed to a neutral purple. Dr. Martinez is an excellent teacher. Captain Rodriguez looked at Jake. Good. Remember, this work is important for both our species. We can't let personal feelings get in the way. Jake felt like she was giving him a warning. Of course not, Captain. We're being completely professional. After the captains left, Jake and Zira looked at each other. They both knew they were walking on dangerous ground, but they also knew they couldn't stop what was happening between them. Jake, Zira said softly. Whatever happens, I want you to know something. What? You taught me that emotions aren't something to hide. They're something to celebrate. You gave me back a part of myself I thought was lost. Jake reached out and gently touched her hand. Her skin was warm and soft. And you taught me that beauty isn't just about how someone looks. It's about who they are inside. As they went back to their work, both Jake and Zira knew that something special was growing between them. It was dangerous and could get them both in trouble. But it was also beautiful and real and worth fighting for. The language lessons continued. But now they were learning about more than just words. They were learning about each other's hearts. Jake ran through the hallways of the station. His heart was beating fast and he felt sick to his stomach. Everything was falling apart. It had started 3 hours ago in the main conference room. The human diplomats had presented a trade agreement to the Valari Council. It was supposed to be a simple deal. Humans would share their farming technology, and Valari would share their crystal growing techniques. But something had gone terribly wrong. Commander Thex had stood up in the middle, of the presentation, his skin turning an angry dark red color. "This is an insult," he had shouted. "You offer us dirt farming like we are primitive animals." Captain Rodriguez had looked confused. "I don't understand. We thought you would be interested in our agricultural advances. You call us farmers when we are builders of stars," Elder Voss had said, his skin also turning red. "This is how humans show respect, by treating us like children." The meeting had ended badly. The Volari had stormed out, and now both species were preparing to leave. The first peaceful contact between humans and aliens was about to become a disaster. Jake found Zira in the small garden area of the station. She was sitting alone on a bench, her skin a sad gray color he had never seen before. "Zira," Jake said, sitting down next to her. "What happened in there? Why are your people so angry?" Zira looked at him with tears in her large eyes. "Oh, Jake, it's all wrong. Your people didn't mean to insult us, did they?" "Of course not. We wanted to share our best technology. Agriculture is how we feed our entire planet. It's one of our greatest achievements." Zira's skin shifted to a worried blue. "But in our language, the word your diplomats used for farming also means work fit only for the lowest class. When they offered to teach us farming, it sounded like they were calling us inferior." Jake felt his stomach drop. "It was a translation error?" "Yes," Zira said sadly. "But now Commander Thex thinks it was done on purpose. He believes humans think Volari are stupid." Jake grabbed her hands. "We have to fix this. Can you talk to your commander?" Zira's skin turned an even darker gray. "I tried. But there's something else, Jake. Commander Thex knows about us." Jake felt cold fear run through his body. "What do you mean?" "He saw us holding hands yesterday. He saw how my skin changes when I'm with you. He says I've been corrupted by human emotions. He's removing me from the delegation." "No," Jake said. "They can't do that." "They can," Zira whispered. "I'm being sent back to the Volari ship tonight. Commander Thex says I'm too compromised to continue working with humans." Jake stood up quickly. "Then I'll talk to Captain Rodriguez. I'll explain about the translation error." Zira stood too, grabbing his arm. "Jake, wait. There's more." Jake turned to look at her. Her skin was now black with worry. "Commander Thex is telling the Volari Council that this proves humans can't be trusted. He says the translation error shows that humans are either too stupid or too dishonest to be allies." Jake felt anger building inside him. "That's not fair. It was an honest mistake." "I know," Zira said. "But he's scared of human emotions. He thinks they make us weak and dangerous. He's using my feelings for you as proof." Jake pulled Zira into a hug. She felt warm and soft in his arms. "I won't let them separate us. And I won't let this alliance fail because of a stupid translation error." "How can you stop it?" Zira asked. "I'm just a cultural attaché. You're just a language expert. No one listens to people like us." Jake pulled back to look at her. "Maybe that's exactly why we can fix this. We understand each other. We've been working together every day. We know this can work." Before Zira could answer, they heard heavy footsteps. Commander Thex appeared with 2 Volari guards. His skin was dark red with anger. "Attaché Zira," he said in a cold voice. "You will come with us now." "Commander, please," Zira said. "Let me explain about the translation." "Enough." Commander Thex's skin flashed almost black. "You have embarrassed our people enough. You will return to our ship and remain there until we leave this place." The guards moved toward Zira. Jake stepped between them. "Wait," Jake said. "You're making a mistake. The translation error wasn't intentional. If you just listen." "Commander." Thex looked at Jake with disgust. "Human, you have poisoned one of our people with your primitive emotions. Stay away from Attaché Zira." "Jake, don't," Zira said softly. "It will only make things worse." The guards took Zira's arms gently but firmly. As they led her away, she looked back at Jake. Her skin was pure gold for just a moment. "Remember what I taught you about color songs," she called to him. Then she was gone. Jake stood alone in the garden, feeling helpless and angry. Everything was falling apart and he didn't know how to stop it. He went to find Captain Rodriguez. She was in her office, looking tired and frustrated. "Captain," Jake said, "I know what went wrong. It was a translation error in the trade proposal." "Captain," Rodriguez looked up. "Jake, it doesn't matter now. The Volari are leaving in 6 hours. Earth Command has ordered us to abandon the mission." "But we can fix this," Jake said. "If we just explain—" "No," Captain Rodriguez said firmly. "I got word from Commander Thex an hour ago. He says you've been having an inappropriate relationship with their cultural attaché. He wants you confined to quarters until they leave." Jake felt his world crashing down. "Captain, that's not—" "Jake," Captain Rodriguez said, her voice softer now. "I know you care about her, but this mission is bigger than personal feelings. I'm sorry, but you're confined to your quarters. Security will escort you there now." 2 human security officers appeared at the door. Jake looked at them, then back at Captain Rodriguez. "This is wrong," he said. "We're giving up on the most important moment in human history because of fear and misunderstanding." "I'm sorry, Jake," Captain Rodriguez said, "but the decision is made." As the security officers led Jake to his quarters, he thought about Zira. She was alone on the Volari ship, probably being lectured about the dangers of human emotions. Meanwhile, he was locked up for caring about someone from another world. In his room, Jake sat on his bed and stared out the small window at the Volari ship. Somewhere inside that beautiful crystal vessel was the most wonderful person he had ever met. And in a few hours, she would be gone forever. But then he remembered Zira's last words. "Remember what I taught you about color songs." Jake smiled for the first time in hours. Zira had given him a clue. She wanted him to remember how Volari used colors to show emotions and tell stories. Maybe there was still a way to save everything. He just had to figure out how to use it. Jake paced back and forth in his locked room. 2 hours had passed since they took Zira away. In 4 hours, the Volari ship would leave and he would never see her again. He had been thinking about her words. "Remember what I taught you about color songs." Jake knew she was trying to tell him something important, but what? A soft knock came at his door. Jake looked through the small window and saw Amy Chen, the communications officer. She looked around nervously, then used her key card to open the door. "Amy," Jake said, surprised. "What are you doing?" Amy stepped inside quickly and closed the door. "Jake, I've been thinking about what happened today. This whole thing is stupid." "You could get in trouble for being here," Jake said. "I don't care," Amy said. "I've been monitoring the communications between our ship and theirs. The Volari are just as confused as we are. Half of them want to stay and fix the problem, but Commander Thex is pushing them to leave." Jake felt a spark of hope. "What about Zira? Have you heard anything about her?" Amy nodded. "She's locked in her quarters too." "But Jake, she's been trying to send messages to our ship." "What kind of messages?" Amy pulled out a small device. "She's been using the ship's external lights to create patterns. Look at this." The device showed a recording of the Volari ship. Its crystal surface was flashing with different colors in a complex pattern. "She's making a color song," Jake whispered. "But I can't understand what she's trying to say." "That's why I came to get you," Amy said. "You're the only one who might be able to figure it out." Jake studied the pattern. Purple, gold, blue, silver, red. The colors repeated in different combinations. Slowly, he began to understand. "She's telling a story," Jake said excitedly. "Purple for curiosity, gold for happiness, blue for sadness, silver for hope, red for anger. She's telling the story of what happened between our peoples." Amy watched as Jake wrote down the pattern. "Can you read the whole message?" Jake worked for several minutes, translating the color patterns into words. Finally, he looked up with tears in his eyes. "She's telling both our peoples that the problem isn't with humans or Volari. The problem is with fear. She's saying that emotions aren't weakness. They're what help us understand each other. That's beautiful, Amy said. But how does that help us? Jake stood up suddenly. Amy, can you get me to the communications room? Jake, you're supposed to stay here. Amy, please. I have an idea that might save everything, but I need your help. Amy looked at him for a long moment. What do you need me to do? 20 minutes later, Jake was in the communications room with Amy and 3 other crew members: Sam Walsh, the engineer, Lisa Park, the medical officer, and Tony Miller, the pilot. They had all volunteered to help after Amy explained Jake's plan. This is crazy, Sam said. If Captain Rodriguez finds out, we'll all be in trouble. If we don't try, both our species will lose something amazing, Jake said. Are you with me? They all nodded. Jake sat down at the communications console. Amy, can you connect me to the ship's external light system? I can, but what are you planning to do? I'm going to answer Zira's color song. I'm going to tell our story, the real story of how humans and Valari can work together. Amy's fingers flew over the controls. Okay, you're connected, but Jake, you only have about 10 minutes before the night shift comes on duty. Jake closed his eyes and thought about everything Zira had taught him. Then he began programming the lights. First comma. He made the station's lights flash purple, curiosity. He was telling both species to be curious about each other instead of afraid. Then gold, happiness. He showed how wonderful it felt when humans and Valari worked together. Blue for the sadness of misunderstanding, but then silver for hope that they could fix it. And finally a pattern he had never seen Zira use, a swirling mix of all colors that he hoped meant love. On the Valari ship, the lights stopped flashing. For a moment, Jake thought his message had failed. Then the ship began to glow with the most beautiful color pattern he had ever seen. She's answering, Amy whispered. The pattern was complex and beautiful. Jake could see joy and hope and love all mixed together. But there was something else. Other lights were joining in. Look, Sam said, pointing out the window. Other Valari were adding their own lights to the pattern. Soon the entire ship was glowing with dozens of different color songs. What's happening? Lisa asked. Jake smiled. They're singing together. Zira started something and now other Valari are joining in. They're telling their own stories about cooperation and understanding. Suddenly the communications room door opened. Captain Rodriguez walked in with 2 security officers. She looked around at the crew members, then at Jake. Dr. Martinez, she said. You're supposed to be in your quarters. Captain, please, Jake said. Look outside. Captain Rodriguez walked to the window. The Valari ship was glowing like a rainbow. The colors were so beautiful that several human crew members had gathered in the corridors to watch. What is this? She asked. It's communication, Captain, Jake said. Real communication. Not just words, but feelings and understanding. Zira started it, and now both our peoples are joining in. Amy stepped forward. Captain, we've been monitoring Valari communications. Commander Thex is losing support from his own people. They want to stay and work things out. Captain Rodriguez watched the light show for a long moment. Jake, what exactly are you proposing? Let me go to the Valari ship, Jake said. Let me talk to them face to face. I think I can fix the translation problem and help both sides understand each other. That's too dangerous, Captain Rodriguez said. Captain, Sam said. With respect, doing nothing is more dangerous. We're about to lose the chance for peace between our species. Captain Rodriguez looked around the room at her crew. They were all looking at her hopefully. If I let you try this, Jake, what's your plan? Jake stood up straight. I want to do something that's never been done before. I want to create a joint color song with Zira, human words and Valari emotions together. I want to show both our peoples that we're stronger together than apart. And if it doesn't work? Jake looked out at the beautiful lights on the Valari ship. Then at least we'll know we tried to build something beautiful instead of just walking away. Captain Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she turned to Amy. Open a channel to the Valari ship. Let's see if they'll listen. Jake felt his heart jump with hope. He was going to see Zira again, and together, they were going to save the alliance between their peoples. Outside the window, the Valari ship pulsed with colors that seemed to say, "We're waiting for you." Jake's hands shook as he stepped off the small shuttle and onto the Valari ship. The inside was even more beautiful than he had imagined. The walls were made of the same crystal as the outside, and they glowed softly with warm light. Zira was waiting for him, surrounded by a group of Valari he had never seen before. Her skin was glowing bright gold, and when she saw him, it got even brighter. "Jake," she said, running to him. "I can't believe you came." "I told you I wouldn't give up," Jake said, taking her hands. "Are you okay?" "I am now," Zira said. "Jake, I want you to meet some of my people." She introduced him to 5 other Valari. Unlike Commander Thex, their skin colors were warm and welcoming. One was a young male with green markings who smiled when he saw Jake. Another was an older female whose skin sparkled with silver dots. "We saw your light message," the older female said. "It was beautiful. We want to help you and Zira create your joint color song." "Where is Commander Thex?" Jake asked. The young male's skin turned a sad blue. "He is still angry, but many of us disagree with him now. When we saw Zira's color song and your answer, we remembered what we used to be like before we learned to hide our emotions. We want to feel again," another Valari said. "You humans have shown us that emotions make us stronger, not weaker." Just then, Commander Thex entered the room with Elder Voss. Commander Thex's skin was dark red with anger, but Elder Voss looked thoughtful. "Human," Commander Thex said coldly. "You should not be here." "Commander?" Jake said respectfully. "I came to fix the misunderstanding. The translation error was not intentional. We want to be friends with your people. You have corrupted our young ones with your primitive emotions," Commander Thex replied. Elder Voss stepped forward. His skin was a calm blue color. "Commander Thex, I have been thinking about what happened today. Perhaps we should listen to what the human has to say." "Elder, surely you don't believe—" "I believe," Elder Voss said quietly, "that we may have been wrong about emotions. Look around you, Thex. Our young people are glowing with colors we haven't seen in generations. They are happy." Jake looked around the room. Every young Valari was showing bright, beautiful colors. They looked alive in a way that Commander Thex and the other older Valari did not. "Commander Thex," Jake said, "I know you think emotions are dangerous, but what if they're not? What if they're what make life worth living?" "Emotions cause wars," Commander Thex said. "No," Zira said, stepping next to Jake. "Fear causes wars. Misunderstanding causes wars. Emotions help us care about each other enough to prevent wars." Jake squeezed Zira's hand. "Commander, let us show you what we mean. Let us create our color song for everyone, human and Valari. Then you can decide for yourself." Elder Voss nodded. "I would like to see this color song." Commander Thex looked angry, but he didn't object. 20 minutes later, both crews were gathered in the large observation deck of the Valari ship. Humans floated in small shuttles outside the crystal walls, while Valari filled the deck inside. Jake stood in the center with Zira. He had a small device that would broadcast his words to both ships. "People of Earth and Valari," Jake began. "3 days ago we met as strangers. Today we almost parted as enemies. But we want to show you a different way." Zira stepped forward. "We want to show you that our differences make us stronger, not weaker. Jake will tell our story in human words, and I will show our emotions in Valari colors." Jake began to speak, and Zira began to glow. "Once there was a human who made a mistake," Jake said. Zira's skin turned a soft blue, the color of confusion. He told an alien girl she was beautiful without knowing what that meant to her people. Zira's skin shifted to surprised purple, then to the warm gold of joy. The girl could have been angry, but instead she felt something wonderful. Zira's gold glow got brighter and began to sparkle. They learned to work together, to understand each other, to care about each other. Zira's colors began to dance, purple curiosity, golden happiness, silver hope, all swirling together. When others tried to keep them apart, they found a way to reach across the darkness of space with light and love. Zira's entire body was now glowing with colors that shifted and changed like music made visible. And they discovered that when two different people choose to understand instead of fear, when they choose love instead of hate, they can create something more beautiful than either could make alone. As Jake spoke the last words, something amazing happened. Other Volari in the room began to glow. First the young ones, then some of the older ones. Soon the entire observation deck was filled with dancing colors. But the most amazing thing was that the humans were responding too. Jake could see them through the crystal walls, and they were crying. Not sad tears, but tears of joy and wonder. Captain Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Elder Voss stepped forward. His skin was glowing a soft gold, the first time Jake had seen him show any color at all. "Commander Thex," Elder Voss said, "I think we have been wrong. These emotions, they are not weakness. They are what make us truly alive." Commander Thex looked around at his people. All of them were glowing with beautiful colors. For the first time since Jake had met him, Commander Thex's skin began to change. The dark red of anger faded, replaced by a confused blue, then a thoughtful purple. I had forgotten," Commander Thex said slowly. "I had forgotten how it felt to really feel." "It's not too late," Zira said gently. "We can all learn again." 2 hours later, Jake and Zira stood together in the station's garden. Through the window, they could see both crews working together to draft a new alliance agreement. The translation errors had been fixed, and both species were excited to share their knowledge. "So what happens now?" Jake asked. Zira quote, "S skin was a peaceful golden color. Now we continue learning from each other. Your Captain Rodriguez asked me to stay and work as a permanent cultural liaison." "And Commander Thex agreed?" Zira smiled. "He did. In fact, he asked if I could teach other Volari how to feel emotions again. He wants to learn too." Jake took her hands. They were warm and soft, and her skin glowed brighter at his touch. "Zira," he said, "I have something to tell you. When I first called you beautiful, I said it was partly a mistake. But that wasn't entirely true." "What do you mean?" Jake looked into her large, sparkling eyes. "I meant to say the formal greeting. But when I saw you, you were so beautiful that my heart spoke instead of my brain. It wasn't a mistake. It was the most honest thing I've ever said." Zira's skin became pure gold, brighter than Jake had ever seen it. "Say it again, human." Jake smiled. "You are beautiful, Zira. Not just your skin or your eyes or the way you glow. Your heart is beautiful. Your mind is beautiful. Your courage is beautiful. Everything about you is beautiful." Zira stepped closer to him. "And you, Jake Martinez of Earth, have the most beautiful soul I have ever known." They leaned toward each other, and for the first time they kissed. Zira's skin exploded with colors, gold and silver and purple and pink, all swirling together in the most wonderful light show ever seen. When they pulled apart, Jake was amazed to see that his own skin was glowing slightly. Not with changing colors like Zira's, but with a warm, steady light. "How is that possible?" he asked. Zira laughed, a sound like music. "Love, Jake. Love makes everything possible." From that day forward, humans and Volari worked together as partners and friends. They shared their knowledge, their art, and their dreams. Some humans learned to show their emotions through light, and some Volari learned to express their feelings through words and music. But most importantly, they learned that being different wasn't something to fear. It was something to celebrate. And it all started with one simple, honest compliment from a human who saw beauty in an alien girl and wasn't afraid to say so. Years later, when Jake and Zira told their story to their children, who could glow with colors and speak with words and loved with both human hearts and Volari souls, they always ended the same way. "Remember," they would say, The most powerful force in the universe isn't technology or weapons or fear. It's the courage to call someone beautiful and mean it with your whole heart. And their children would glow with golden happiness because they knew it was true.